Alright, Picks Bros and Picks Gals. This is going to be a Jim Bob's Jim Blog voiceover today. While we're all leveled up on North America and Europe and Asia, we are not leveled up on Oceania, on the Australian server. There are 2 skies and 2 lands on the Australian server. They never made more because not many people played on it. They never got destroyed. Back in the picks, well, maybe we should start even before that. This is going to be a bit of a journey as we catch up. There are a few things that we need to do. I've already got dragons by using airships and glidering in and jumping out and using someone's turrets, and so I'm going to use my dragon to go find some unicorns, some Pegasus, and get a horn, make a master wand so that I can cast magic. I'm going to need a giant mole claw from a mole underground in the magic, and while we're here in the desert, we're going to need to kill some goblin kings to get some goblin traders so that we can trade gold for various resources. Because, like I said, we're new here. And so while I hunt some goblin kings, tame some slimes, because we need everything again. We'll start with a story. And how far back do we need to go? Do we just start with Pixark stories? Do we start with ARC stories? Start with the first time you had to buy a new video card to play a video game? The Matrix Online was a pretty good game. It was worth having to buy a video card with a digital pixel shader. To be that first month of playing and that last month of beta were insane. Because they had a server-wide radio station, and it was 24/7 with DJs, and people would call in to the DJ to be like, yeah, we're having a party at some place, and everybody's dancing in the club, but like there's assassins and snipers that can go invisible, and if you went through the high-level dungeon and killed the bosses, you probably got a sneak cloak. And so whenever they announce the party, now you've got all 3 factions showing up in sneak, killing each other. You know, the sniper is on the 2nd floor, sniping people on the dance floor, and there's an assassin running around looking for snipers, and just everybody's invisible trying to fight each other. It was good times. All the missions had you running the streets, and so you'd be grinding missions and having to PvP people because you're out and about. High Jumps is one of the first games that had to make all their rooftops to where you don't fall through the mesh. I mean, whatever happened, Sony bought it and it got ruined pretty quickly. They did some patching and it lost its appeal. I mean, granted, they needed to fix some little bugs, but those were fun in their own way. Like a pistol that was only supposed to do 5 damage over time, but it did 500. And so you'd be dead in about 10 seconds if you didn't have antibiotics. And so whenever you get, because you're not going to be all cheesy, you'll fight people the normal meta way. And whenever they use that gun on you, you use your antibiotics. Get your broken glitch gun and shoot that person and see if they have antibiotics. And then go back to fighting normal. But That was an excellent game. So where are we here? Buying new video cards. Yeah, so whenever Arc came out, much like with Ascended, it was not optimized, and it was very, very bad. And even if you turned off all the trees and bushes and everything as much as possible, even on the new CPU, motherboard, RAM combo, and video card, it was still bad. But we played anyway, because that's what we did back in the day. You try out every new game, and you try out the beta for sure, because even if the game isn't very good, that last month of beta and that first month of it being released, generally pretty fun. So we get our buddies together, we all buy the game. You start naked on the beach, and I think I started on the east side and made a little cabin in the woods, and with my buddy and his brother and his cousin and everybody got on. They made a base by the lake north of Red, and so we went over there, and we're getting dinosaurs and collecting them in our lake base and doing noob things. Um, we invite some randoms because, it was the early access of Arc. Survival games were not. It wasn't where we're always full of all these early access survival games that never get finished and never get bug fixes, and they might add more content but never fix anything. That was new. We weren't jaded at video games yet, and so we did all the fun Arc stuff, the taming and the swimming and finding pearls and oil, and we took over a cave because when in Rome. The first couple of nights maybe it was fine. It was pretty quick though that our neighbors to the south of Red on the big hill there, they'd come over at night and get our dinosaurs to stick their heads through the wall and beat our dinosaurs up. And so it became a thing where someone would be harassing them, and we'd chase them to the south, and we'd be trying to find out where their base was. It was a whole thing for weeks as we slowly but surely expand. And we had our two players, Colton, some young Midwest Southern dude, and he was actually pretty chill for being younger than the East Coast guy, who, not that he was a bad guy, but he was playing the game for the wrong reasons. Because not the alphas, but the sub-alphas were Arc girls, and he kept on trying to hit them up on Steam and flirt with them, and it was a whole thing. It doesn't look good on your tribe. And like at some point when we're all still noobs at Lake Base, they pick us up to show us their base, and they lived up in the northwest, in the chasm there, in that canyon, in the big circle. And so they dropped us off there, and quickly put him in a cage, and had him eating his own poop. And so that's where my poop eating Arc jokes come from, is because that was a real thing that happened to a guy, and he ate his poops to get out of a cage and was not let out of a cage. And so eventually they got tired of messing with the guy and took us back to base. At some point, Colton left because it's too much heat being in tribe with that guy trying to flirt with everybody. And at some point, he got mad and gave up after a couple of drunk nights trying to flirt with those art girls, which just left us in our expansion, going up to the metal mountain in the middle, and about halfway up, building a little smelting base where the guys down south had also had a smelting base. And so the guys down south in their smelting base started beef with our smelting base. And about that time, the Alpha had went after their main south base and took their south base out. And we went and watched that fight. And then whenever it had finished up and they came to mess around on the mountain, we went ahead and took out their little mountain smelting base. And so the mountain was ours to grow on. And we did, put some behemoth gates around the middle of the mountain, put a gate going down the mountain, to make a wall, put some Plant X everywhere, because it had just came out, as many as possible, enough to where everybody complained when they flew by, and I was like, well, that's what the gates are for, to save you from getting shot by Plant X and lag to death by Plant X. And so I guess we played a good couple months, leaving the computer on, Chinese dudes breaking in your base in the middle of the night, you hear noise and think someone's breaking into your house, but it's just in a video game as they're trying to blow floors apart because they magically know where the boxes are hidden. And so after dealing with enough of that, you start to make trap pitfalls and put spikes places and put turrets in walls. And, now there's like pillars and outer skins. And, it gets complicated. The pin codes opening and closing all doors in Ark was a nice, even though they don't do that in PixArk. Yeah, no drop on that mole call. Sad days. We'll keep hunting moles in the magic lands, and we got priorities to get to magic here. So back to the story. They added swamps. We got semi-friendly with the Alpha and pretty much all the remaining tribes. Constructive trading relationships and whatnot. Not many people messing with each other. This was around the Get Swifty Rick and Morty. I remember because the week before the Get Swifty Rick and Morty, they had released Kibble, and we were kibbling our Pateras so that they could do a crazy spin. I mean, first it was somebody else who had the idea and ran amok on the server with people being like, "Who killed us? Morty!" Just screaming about Morty. Just wherever he was, because he flew fast, and with a spin, he killed you. And with a couple of spins, he killed your biggest dinosaur. And just, Morty was killing people, just one hit killing people. And so after you figured out it was the kibble and all the extra points, and that you were just glass cannon spinning Pateras around, everybody was getting Pateras. And so, like, if you saw somebody, like, the first person to spin wins. And it was just, people were spinning. They were spinning people's Rexes and Brontos, and they were just, they were spinning. We had special garages for our Morty and our Morticia. And then, yeah, Get Swifty was the week after, once everybody had them. Let's see. Alright, we've skipped ahead now. We'll pick up the story while I break this ruins block behind the ice ferry in the ice castle. Takes a good 5 minutes. I lost the footage with the actual drop of the mole claw and farming the Pegasus, but I've got a wand and a mole claw pickaxe, as you can tell. It had been a couple of months, and my buddy's brother and cousin had already quit the game, and my buddy was getting tired of the game, and so we decided to make the alphas come wipe us. And so we killed an alpha and his tame and basically declared war on him. And that began the first of a few actual sieges. I mean, there were even early game, when we first had the Pearl Cave, we, fought a proper online siege there, but soon after that, they nerfed caves and made everything in caves take extra damage, and then basically made caves useless. But then it switched the meta to being the turrets at the caves could do a whole bunch of damage to everybody's tames, and it made caves the meta again. But that's just Arc changing everything to mess with you. So basically, we make the alphas mad, and they start off by sieging Lake Base, which is stone. And since we've been griefed by people trying to punch our dinosaurs when they stick their heads through the wall, our stone base now had a second skin on it and had layers to it now, and even on top. And so we were walking through different doors and popping out of different places at the top. They're all teamed up across the server and have a brontosaurus base with turrets, and it ends up being a 3-hour fight for Rock Base, because at one point we killed four. We killed the main four, and one of us was able to run outside and pick up some of their explosives and loot. And then, like, some of the grenades, we got a lucky shot whenever they were running the Bronto base with the turrets, and we were popping out of the second floor throwing grenades. I don't know how. I assume the saddle or whatever mounting piece got broke, or it was just a glitch. Because, a few of the grenades you'd throw on the back of the Bronto, you assume damage stuff, but it wasn't as, one of them just everything, the whole saddle, everything vanished. And so it was a nice moment there. A couple of nice moments during that siege. But it was a stone base, and it was really just a base with an outer skin, and so we could kind of battle the bulge, be on all sides of the base and travel through the skin and the inside and different things. But yeah, after that, the other ocean holding base was attacked, and everybody was killed in there, leaving us with only Metal Mountain. And Metal Mountain had all those plant X's, and so it took them a while to get everything ready, get all the explosives and new Bronto turret bases to come tail swipe the Plant X, and they needed to acquire things, and that gave us time to remodel more of the inside. As turrets aren't only for for the outside. You got to have some surprise inside turrets whenever people are blowing up your floor to find stuff and just breaking in and whatever. You need to have surprise pitfalls and spike traps and just fun stuff for your enemies, because at some point in the siege they will make it into the outer skin, and the battle will change a bit. So as you can tell, we're also still here just pickaxing away at this runes block. And there we go. We'll go ahead and get some blueprints and some steel bone gloves. And now tomorrow we'll be able to hit the chest below it and this chest nice and easy. So after about a week goes by, they come in, the whole server again starts to siege what will be an 8-hour battle. Let's see, we're probably, I guess we're probably an 8x8 metal box, realistically. But keep in mind, we've got outer skins and pillars and windows, and the place was built with looking at different sides and, the folly of war, and being griefed in mind. So it was a little more able to handle itself. And as you saw the lower chest, and once again we will get back to breaking rune blocks and get to this other chest. Give me another 5 minutes to attempt to finish the story of the original Ark Survival Evolved early release. And so the day finally comes, and they come at us from the east, from downhill. They start breaking the giant behemoth gates, and start working with their Brontos to tail swipe and break the Plan X, and soak the Plan X and break the Plan X so that they can move in which we are defending from the top of the base and our windows and towers and any peeps. And it, like I said, it was an 8-hour fight. They're shooting us in our windows, we're shooting them on top of their dinos. Yeah, and that went on like that for quite some time. At some point they finally got enough cleared on the east side to make it inside. But you got a wall, you're just in that defensive outer skin so that people can't kill your dinos through the wall. Not that there were dinos in that part. We had the defensive outer skin because we used it in the other base as quick tunnels, to be everywhere on all sides of the base, to give you alternate paths. If something gets compromised, you can still get from point A to point B and defend that side of the base from wherever everyone is. And so they get in and they battle their way through a couple of sub-compartments, and to get out of that compartment, you had to be able to place a ladder anyway. That was a compartment that I used basically to trap people who would try to break in and fall in. Then they wouldn't be able to get out, because you needed a ladder when you eventually got to the other part. And so you'd find people in the base, or you'd hear people that were in the walls, or find a guy logged out or whatever. And so they made it all the way to that other side of the base where you'd usually find the guy. And when they did that, I ran outside and put a wall back on, trapping them inside the walls of the base. And so yeah, we were able to just open doors and kill them, and pocket that loot too. Not that any of the loot was, we weren't saving it. We were just, it was just more ammo and more explosives to allow us to throw more grenades on people's brontosaurus bases and shoot more people and basically just defend ourselves as long as we can and burn through all our ammo. Because the inside of the base conveniently had already been remodeled, and so aside from the defensive things being left in place, any of our turrets and spikes and trap rooms and whatever, all the crafting stations and everything was long disposed of and thrown away. And basically, the main base was turned into an art gallery because art had that, painting system there. And so it was just a bunch of multicolored dick butts, different background, different color dick butt, just all over the whole wall, just all the walls. That was the meme in the inner base. That was whenever you got to the loot in the loot room. The loot room was an art gallery of the meme dick butt. Congratulations, that was a killer 8 hours, and I thank you for it. So it was funny. Matter of, oh damn, because when we trapped them in the walls and stuff, that I think that they actually got held back a bit by that, because if I remember correctly, they didn't actually make it inside to the art gallery for another couple of days. Like, they sieged down the defenses and whatnot, but they never made it in because we stole that last C4 and whatever when they were in the wall trying to get in. And so it took them another couple of days to get to the gallery. And I think that's where the last part of that story comes to. Because after getting back on the server and checking and lapping about the art gallery, like a week after that, I get a message on Steam in a friend request from Hulk Smash, who reveals to me that after being friendly with our tribe for a month, the truth is that they were part of the original tribe that was beating the dinosaurs' heads through, that the Alpha fought, and then we fought on a hill, and then they all quit and disappeared. They didn't. They changed all their Steam names and tribe name and moved to the other side of the island and pretended to be friendly and cool and have trade and like be normal people for the next month, and then message me on Steam a week or two after I quit and it'd be like, haha, I metagamed you, we were those guys. And like, I was shocked and confused because like I didn't know I was playing a game outside the game and metagaming, and that I had lost this game, that I had to go look into Urban Dictionary to even see what the guy was talking about how he beat me at PvP by hiding from PvP and being my friend instead of being the bad guy that we were hunting down all the time. So that may have something to do with why I kind of know everyone's Steam accounts and what servers they play on across the chaos of all regions. It may have something to do with that story. And or memory training. Well, we're finally almost through this second block here, so that we can loot. Like I say with these castles, this box right here between the eye switch and the one below it has a chance to have, you know, shotguns and different guns and good loot, more than just the steel bone armor. Whereas the four outer pillars have boxes, top and bottom, but it's generally just shotgun shells and maybe steel bone armor. Not that shotgun shells aren't good, because they cost 9 polymer per shell, so it's actually pretty good. And more shotgun shells. And so anyway, that's the story of getting completely foundation wiped a few days later in Ark. And in Ark, I was Joe Bob, because the names there were Joe and Bob, and that's what you spawned as. Only later in Pixark did I become Jim Bob and Jimbo because of another story that we'll get to. I think we may cut it short here. I think it's another like 10-15 minutes of mining these runes box. Not that runes box can't be useful, but it's just not my idea of fun. Let's see. Yeah, it's pretty much all Magic Academy blueprints. So we'll go ahead and call it here for now and pick up another story on the next one. Because, you know, we gotta kill ice witches. We're gonna. Because people like using fire and wind, I actually test it as a basic with your primitive wand, exactly how incredibly long and how much magic that takes, and that'll be in some full uncut videos where maybe I'll tell the story of Pixark's early access. Oh, that's a good one. I don't know if I can do the story of the 8-year-old Alpha justice just yet. So yeah, like and subscribe and argue in the comments, and like me on all your other YouTube accounts on your different phones and TVs, and I don't know your life. But I'm not getting nickels from Google. The least Google can do is throw spare change at me.